All right. Welcome to Lessons from High School Dropout. My name is Troy Thomas Josephich, and I want to thank you for taking time to listen to this podcast or watch this podcast. If you're on our YouTube channel, why don't you hit that bell while you're at it? Love to have you subscribe, share. That's the way the Lessons from High School Dropout get around, is through sharing. And I got something to share with you today. You know, oh, my eyeglasses are tinted here. Let's do this. There's no notes to read, no nothing going on, so let's just take off the glasses. Look you in the eye. I don't ever like to have sunglasses on when I'm trying to talk to people. I think it's rude in some ways, but hey, I'm not going to be a prude if you do that. Cool. But listen, recently there's been this constant reaffirming the importance of mentorship. About 4 years ago, I was in here in uptown Charlotte here, working out at the Epicenter at the Gold's Gym, and I met this young man who had just got out of college, and he was looking for a job. And he was looking in the financial world, and I reached out and I said, hey, give him a card, if you're ever interested, maybe I could talk to you about what I do and kind of enlighten you on some things and just be, a word of encouragement to him. Well, he searched me out on LinkedIn. We kind of communicated a couple of times, but he had a job, but he wasn't quite happy with it, and just kept on plugging away, and he went through some challenges, but we all go through challenges. But you circled back to me here several months ago through LinkedIn, and I missed his message originally, and sometimes I miss these messages because I get inundated with all kinds of messages. And hey, I'm not going to complain about it, because there's opportunity within inside someone's desire to reach out to you. And I believe in looking at everything that comes across the frequency and pulling it down, as you hear me say. Take a look at it. So when it knocks on your door, maybe you should take a look at that. Maybe you should listen. Maybe you should welcome him in. So I welcomed this young man in my office here today, and we met here for a couple hours and had a nice time. Had a cup of coffee, cappuccino, and while we're talking, actually, let me back up. Before we got here yesterday, we were on the phone, and this young man, I started catching up and said, so what are you doing? Tell me about your life. Where are you in your career? What are you doing? He said, well, I'm working for you, man. I kind of got a COVID job, something to get me by. Things kind of collapsed on him. I said, hey, I get it. And in our conversation yesterday, what he said was that spurred me, is he said, I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and everybody who's listening to this podcast knows that I promote and suggest 2 books. And quite frankly, probably in this order. Doesn't mean one's better than the other. But Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki was the book that he said he read, and it really made an impact on his life. And this coming from a 17-year-old high school dropout from back in 1982 who never read a book in school. I got small TVs and big libraries. Kind of like it that way, right? When he told me that, I said, oh, Roderick, you're just pulling the strings on my heartstrings here, right? I mean, we're playing some beautiful music, talking about learning from this book. So fast forward to today, I brought him a nice book. I brought him the next book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. A masterful design of work where you work for free. You work for free for 20 years. You manifest amazing opportunities in your life. People will lead you. It was Napoleon Hill that was mentored by Andrew Carnegie back in 1908. They had that powerful meeting that was supposed to last a few hours and lasted an entire weekend, moving the meeting from his office to his home. And when you get invited to Andrew Carnegie's office in 1908, and then you are invited to his home, there's a big message there. It's in a belief. It's a belief that Andrew said, you know, you transferred a belief system in me, and Andrew transferred a belief system in Napoleon Hill, that if you walk down this road a little further, I'm going to share some things with you that might spark you to become a little different. And it did just that for Napoleon Hill and his mentor, Andrew Carnegie, who introduced him with plenty of letters of introduction to people like, you know, Thomas Edison, Barnes, Wrigley, Roosevelt, you name it. Very, very highly successful men, it was a man's world, who had done some things in their life, struggled in their life, had failure after failure. And you know, when I see people come to me, I take an opportunity to listen. I take an opportunity to pull it down and say, hey, listen, how can I help? How can I be a part of this person in a positive, impactful way? I believe that mentorship is very, very important. You know, just this morning, one of my sons came to me and said, you know, Miguel, one of my partners, reached out to me in a message. And, you know, sometimes a message can be conveyed to our children from somebody else better than coming from myself. And that's very true, because some of the greatest mentors I had were people who I met through my work, a season, a reason, or a lifetime, we never know, but things that my father could have never taught me came from mentors who I embraced, and I saw a vision in them that I wanted to have a vision similar of my own. So I want to dedicate this podcast to Roderick Howe, who took it upon himself to reach out to me for learning, growing in business, and not just once, but multiple times this man knocked on my door through LinkedIn, rang my cell phone. That's powerful. I believe that when we take the time to listen to others and spend that time saying, what can I do to help this person? It doesn't go one way. You see, what it told me is that just like Miguel is inspiring my son in ways that I couldn't, maybe I'm doing the same thing for another man's son or daughter. When we take time for the young, the eager, those who are seeking, and some of them may be older, it's important we listen and see where we can fit in to the puzzle of life that gives us a magnificent picture when we put all the pieces together. It's an amazing story. It's an amazing story. Because the mentors I've had in my life started out when I was a young boy. From the story of Tom Teeter and Old Can of Oil, which you'll be able to read in the library of Lessons from a High School Dropout. Tom Teeter and Old Can of Oil probably was somewhere around 1970 that occurred. It was my very first story I wrote about my life. And that reflection kind of also came together in this podcast today. Because it was that reaching back and showing a young man how to take a pair of pliers, put them in an old can of oil, free them up, and a young boy walks around like Dennis the Menace for the next 6 months, a year or two, whatever. Folks, mentorship is important. Some folks never need one or desire to get one, but that's where they're structured. And that's okay. I'm not about to change that. Whatever's working for people without one is great. Whatever's working where people are asking for one is where we have an obligation as humanity to reach those who are looking for help, seeking knowledge, seeking opportunity, seeking growth. Very powerful. So that's my story for today. Listen, if you're not a subscriber, I hope you will. It helps our analytics and helps us move this podcast up into the realm of the frequency of podcasters. Share it with someone you know that could benefit. I don't share this too often with, I don't ever share it with my family. They're aware. It's not about that. It's about the circle of life all around us. So share it if you feel inspired to share it. Someone who you know might be seeking a mentor, might spark their mind to say, you know, this businessman that I know, I might want to reach out. If it's me, send me an email. Go to Lessons from High School, Dropout, subscribe, and I'll be glad to talk to you a little further. Until next time, cheers and ciao for now. Look at this beautiful day we have here in Charlotte. Huh? It's November. See you next time. Bye.